With the Supreme Court now issuing notice on the petition regarding same-sex marriage in the country, we're speaking to some of the petitioners in the matter. With me is Uday Raj Anand, who's one of the petitioners. Thank you very much for speaking to India Today.
Thank you for having me.
So, first question that anybody would ask, why approach Supreme Court now? There are matters pending in the High Courts. What triggered this petition in this manner?
Well, given that we see this as an issue of fundamental rights, we see this as an issue of the core dignity of us as a family and families like ours, people like us. And when it comes to questions of core dignity or fundamental rights, really, historically, the Supreme Court has really been that arbiter of justice, has been that champion of people's fundamental rights. And so we believe that it is the right place to go. Of course, there are legal matters involved, and as you say, there are cases pending with various high courts. But it is our belief, and as well as the belief of our lawyers, by whom we have been ably advised in this process, that the issue is core and fundamental enough for us to go to the Supreme Court. In fact, the question to ask is, why would we not go to the Supreme Court?
So, you and your partner have been together for quite a long time.
That's right.
Your petition also says that you have children now.
That's right.
So, socially, if I may ask, could you just give us an example of how the absence of this right to marriage has affected your life? What kind of rights are you really asking for? Why marriage?
Yeah. So, look, I think first I'll say that we have been extremely lucky that, the people who have come before us, who have fought many fights before us, and have, got us these hard-won rights, which allow us today to live in society as proud and out and, as individuals with dignity. And that's the people who were involved in the 377 cases and everyone who came before that. But really now it's a question of, while we have some dignities as individuals, which we did not have before.
Of course.
Even in our lives, we have seen things change so rapidly. But when it comes to those individuals coming together to form a family, to form a unit, there are huge holes in being able to be seen as a unit that deserves dignity.
Okay.
And that deserves recognition, that deserves the rights that other families have, be that rights of succession, be that rights of being able to make medical choices for parents, be that rights of travel, or any basic rights that a parent should enjoy over a child, or a spouse or spouses should enjoy over each other. So we struggle with those on an everyday basis in big and small ways.
Can I ask you to elaborate a little bit? Because today we are living in a world where people are accepting live-in relationships. So why have this idea of institutionalized marriage? What does marriage give you that you don't currently have?
Very simply, if I was to be in hospital and not able to take a medical decision for myself, my spouse should be able to, take a call on what needs to happen with me. What course of treatment should I take or not? And at the moment, my spouse does not enjoy that right, and that's an indignity. The fact that we are personally very lucky to have very supportive families, but what if we didn't? If one of us was not around, what would be the legal rights of the other on each other's assets, on the children? How are our rights as a unit, as a family, guaranteed to us, and how are we protected from the vagaries of somebody else's largesse or lack of it?
Okay. So I will come back again to this entire issue. There has been this entire continuum of rights, so to speak, from Section 377, the decriminalization in the Navdev Johar case, the recognition of the right to love, the right of choice, and now we're talking about marriage equality. So when we're talking about this, you guys, you have specifically asked for a change in the Special Marriage Act, and not in the Hindu Marriage Act. Any specific reason for the legality that you guys, the path that you have chosen to take?
Look, honestly, the Marriages Act, as I understand it, and I'm not a lawyer, is precisely for being able to create an avenue towards marriage for those people where traditional marriages codified by religious marriages codified by religious law are not available. And I think this is a very apt example of that. And therefore it seems to be the right way to go. But again, I should say that we have a group of exceptionally talented lawyers who are doing this for us, for no personal gain. They are doing it absolutely pro bono. And we have just deep trust and faith that they are guiding us in the right direction, and they believe this is the way to go.
Just one last question. Socially, will this entire issue of marriage equality change things for you? I mean, at the moment, as you said, you've been blessed with a very supportive family and friends. But socially, do you believe that this will create a change in the way society also views same-sex couples?
Yes. So, and very fundamentally, the answer to that question is that today we feel grateful to the people around us for being accepting, for being tolerant, for being respectful. We feel grateful for being accorded the basic dignity of a human being or of a family. And by getting these rights, we don't have to feel grateful to anyone for just treating us the way we deserve and ought to be treated. And that is fundamentally what changes, because we are then, as I said, not subject to somebody else's own personal biases, whims and fancies, which for the moment may have gone in the winds may have blown in our favor, and we haven't encountered people that have discriminated against us in a way that has injured us grievously. But they absolutely could.
So basically, what a biggest difference would be that legally and socially you will no longer be at a razor's edge.
Absolutely. I mean, today we have a wonderful, happy family, but our children don't have the dignity of having two parents listed on their paperwork, for example, right? So they have two parents, but their paperwork doesn't list two parents. When they will go through life, this is also something that we want to do for them, and not just for our children, because honestly, it's not just about us. It's about everyone else and the thousands and thousands of people who are in the same boat as us, and for those who are to come, and that they should not have to wonder whether somebody will give them dignity or not. They should know that it is their right, and it is a right guaranteed by the Constitution of this country, and affirmed by the apex court of the land.
All right. Thank you very much for speaking to us, Uday. And personally, I would say we hope that the Supreme Court does what you hope for them to do. This was Uday Raj Anand speaking to India Today on the issue of same-sex marriage, and the Supreme Court has issued notice now to the central government and to the Attorney General's office. The question now is, how far and how long will this fight take? In New Delhi, this is Anisha Mathur for India Today.